It's the area of my life. Oh. All right, hello everybody. Welcome back to Bailey's Raves Productions. So if you're new here, which may be majority of you all, I'm back, baby. I'm actually back doing YouTube. If you did not watch my previous video, go ahead and check it out. Essentially, I took a little hiatus. I guess you could call it a 3-year hiatus, possibly. But what we are doing now is we are back to the channel. We are getting back into it, and this channel is going to focus on business, lifestyle, and wellness. So if you're interested in any of those, stay tuned. In addition to that, today we are going to do a get ready with me movie review. So I really love TV. I really love watching TV. So essentially what we're going to do today is we are going to talk about the movie Them. So you may see me look down every now and then because I do have my notes here. I do want to break it down in such a way where we're talking about different things that are happening or different things that happen throughout the episodes, but I do want to keep it general so that we are keeping it on a positive note as well as an informative note. So with that being said, you're going to need a few supplies for this Get Ready With Me if you're following along. If you're following along with the Get Ready With Me, there are several things that we're doing here. Today, we are testing out some products. I am in need of some new foundation. The foundation I have is okay, but what I don't like about the foundation that I currently have is that literally it looks like you can like peel it back, like the mask, and like pull it off. And I don't like that. I like for my foundation to have like a matte finish as well as be as natural as possible. So we have a few cult favorites. I am a big Neutrogena girl. So, like for example, where's my lotion? I have the Neutrogena lotion, which I've already put on my face. Give me a second. My baby is trying to get out. All right, so back to what we're doing. So yeah, don't mind my boo-boo. Okay, I have a boo-boo. It's a tiny little scratch. But I have like so much ointment on it that it looks crazy, but it's just a little scratch. So if you don't know, and if you don't follow me on Instagram, I highly encourage you to follow me on Instagram. All that information will be linked below in the description box. But to be honest, and essentially, I'm a cat mom. And if there are any other cat parents out there or just normal people that, you know, live in today's world, you understand that cats don't really like taking baths and things like that. So they bathe themselves, you know, they're super sophisticated like that. So basically, make a long story short, I'm sitting up here being a good mom and I got scratched in the process. But anyway, back to the story. So that's the disclaimer. Don't mind the boo-boo, okay? So basically what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that we have our whole Yadig setup, our whole setup here and accessible to us. So I've already washed my face. Whenever you put on makeup, you want to start with a clean, dry face. So and dry meaning like not still wet or still wet from water or still wet from product. So we are starting with, like I said, the Neutrogena lotion. I put that on already, and then I am also trying out their sunblock. I'm in need for a new sunblock. I previously, let me see if I can find it. Here it is. I was previously, once again, like I said, I'm big on Neutrogena products, but I was previously using this, and I was using just a dot. And when I first got it, it seemed like it was cool. I liked it, and it worked well underneath my makeup. But since then, and that was like 2 years ago. But since then, and I can actually insert a photo. Like I'll put a photo here of me wearing it with makeup. But ever since then, I don't know, maybe my skin is different. I don't know what's happening, but to make a long story short, it leaves like a white cast now, and I don't like it. So I'm trying this one to see if I like this. underneath my makeup. And then I'm keeping some wipes on deck as well, just in case there is any makeup or anything like that that we need to clean up. So there's that. I have like an old shirt to help clean up, and like I said, I have my notes for our review, our movie review. So the first thing that we need to start with whenever getting ready is inspiration. So I get a lot of my inspiration from social media, like anybody else. So I have a Pinterest, and what I typically like to do is during my free time, or if I'm just listening to music and just hanging out with myself, I take some time to scroll through Pinterest to find different clothes, different makeup, different hairstyles, different anything, exercises, anything, when it comes down to things I like. That way I can have some place to go back and remember, oh yeah, this is the style that they created, or this is the style that really inspired me, or whatever the case might be. So just a disclaimer. So today I'm going to be using some material or information that may not be my own. So I do just want to make sure that I do throw a disclaimer out there in regards to copyright infringement, that this video is not intended for copyright infringement, and nor does it have the intent to copyright infringe upon any other person's works, ideas, or thoughts. Under Section 107 of the Copyright Act, it states that copyright materials or copyrighted materials can be fairly used for the following purposes: criticism, comments, reporting, teachings, research, and scholarship. I am sampling or possibly sampling copywritten works under the protection of Section 107 of the Copyright Act. If you want to know where I got this stuff from, I'll also have an affiliate link down below. That way you can go ahead and purchase them straight to your doorstep, or purchase them in store, whatever makes sense for you. But once again, I'm just a person on YouTube that's giving my ideas and my opinion. I like this product, but do keep in mind that it may or may not work for you, and it is totally up to you to use it. I'm not enforcing that you should. And if you do use any affiliate links below, do know that there is a small commission that I may or may not make off of it, but that is up to you to purchase from below or to purchase from elsewhere. So let's get into it. Now, before we get into this movie review, which I really love, let's go back to, like I was saying beforehand, about getting some inspiration. So I go to Pinterest and I just find the look that I really like. Let me see if you can see that. Hopefully you can. Don't mind my super cracked up phone. So today we are using this palette by Juvia's Place. This is the Warrior 3 palette. So we're going to go ahead and use that because it has some of the colors that we need to achieve that look. And then also we're going to be using this palette. I really love this palette. It may be time for me to get a new one. You see how this is almost gone? This is like my favorite main color that I use. But I actually got this from the beauty supply. So head to your local beauty supply if you like these colors that's in here. So I am sampling this NARS situation. So hopefully we get some good colors out of this. So hopefully, I'm excited. I'm super excited. So this is the NARS Soft Matte Makoa. It leaves like a residue, especially if you're trying to look like a normal person. So we're gonna start actually with the sunscreen. So we're gonna put this on to see what it looks like. But overall, the movie Them, I really enjoyed it. Like, I really thought that it was a great depiction of, hopefully this isn't too much. This is how much I put on there. So I'm just gonna start with the fingertips. But it was really good. I really think that it was a good depiction on just the struggle that Black people face in this country, even to this day. And I really think, like, of course we have a lot of movies that are about Black people and the horror that we're facing is racism in this country, and in all countries, to be honest with you, because racism isn't just a thing that's exclusive to the United States. It happens all around the world. And then, of course, you also have the issue of colorism. So there are some key terms that I have in here. And I'll make a list of some sort. That way you can look them up on your own so that you can educate yourself. Because the best way to do anything and to live this life and be successful in this world is to educate yourself. So you can also pay for education. You can go to like a college, whether that's a community college or a university or anything like that, to learn some of these things, and even connect on Facebook and stuff with people. There are many scholars on Facebook and other groups like Reddit that would love to point you in the right direction to go ahead and have a better understanding of what's going on. But in the grand scheme of things, I really love, like, if I were to just do an overview of the movie, I really love the fact that it speaks about how racism affects the whole family of a Black person. It affects the husband in certain ways. It affects the wife in certain ways. It affects the children. It even affects the children in certain ways, and it even affects, pets, if you want to call it that. Because ultimately we all face our own struggles. So the overarching theme is that there's racism that we all are dealing with, and it's embedded into our system. It's a systematic oppression. It's systematically practiced, as well as it was meant to create limitations amongst groups of people. So you can say amongst the poor, you can say amongst people in a certain area like city or state, and it's meant to divide and conquer. So ultimately, when it comes down to it, people have to remember that this thing that we call race is an invented concept. It is not real. We all are the same race, which is the human race. So with that being said, as I'm pulling out my brushes, my things, I'll show you guys as well. But what I really like to do with my brushes is kind of like, if I have any residue, I know that's probably not the right way to do it, but if I have any residue from previous use, I just kind of rub it out on the towel or the shirt. So what I really love is, because I think a lot of times when you're a Black woman, you don't really understand what struggles a Black man deals with, and vice versa. If you are a Black man, you don't really understand what a Black woman deals with, and we really don't understand the struggles of children in childhood racism, as well as children don't understand what adult racism is, or what that looks like, or even that it could possibly be a thing, because adult racism is a little bit different than the racism that you encounter when you are a child. So I really love the fact that the series, I was going to call it movie. Remember, you guys, I use movie and series interchangeably. So go ahead and do your own research whenever I'm talking about something. But I really love the fact that this series engulfs each and every perspective, and it really doesn't leave anybody out, because unfortunately, racism affects us all. If you look at concepts such as the school to the prison, or the school to prison pipeline, or if you look at the fact that Black women have more mortality rates when it comes down to childbirth and child rearing, if you look at how many Black men are in prison currently based off of non-violent crimes and how long of a sentence they have to serve, some of them are serving long sentences. Even the fact that there are Black men who are in jail right now for activism, and they have served, a long sentence since like the 60s and 70s, if they're still alive. Some people have died, some Black men have died in prison just because of the fact that they were marching or, trying to fight for a better tomorrow for Black people. So if you're, a different person of color that's not Black, or even a white person, all of these stories are very real to Black people and what Black people face on a daily basis, not just, in a horror movie. These are real things. A lot of the concepts that were touched upon, like the intentional racism, the intentional microaggressions, the constant harassment, how even the real estate market, the people, the bank that owned the loans, how they were creating opportunities that were way out of price range that they would never charge a white person for, but yet they were charging black people, so that you, whenever you even enter into an opportunity, you're already upside down. So I just got done putting this Neutrogena on. I like how it feels so far. It has like a little shine to it as well, so that's quite interesting. I think it says on the back somewhere to wait either, here it is, 15 minutes. So apply liberally 15 minutes before sun exposure, and then reapply after 80 minutes of swimming or sweating, immediately after towel drying. So from what I've heard, like I said, I'm not an expert, I'm not a dermatologist or anything, but some people have said online that whenever you put on a sunscreen, to wait like 15 or 20 minutes. We ain't got that kind of time because I'm trying to show you guys how to do this makeup. But outside of that, if you have the time, and I usually don't have the time either, because like, well, if I'm getting ready for work or something, I don't have 15 to 20 minutes unless that's the time you use to like eat your breakfast or something. So I don't know. But basically, I really love the fact that they even touch on the fact that racism has been built into religion. So racism has been built into our school systems, and this is all things, or all of these subject matters are touched upon in the series, and are things that you could look up, and I encourage you to look up for your own knowledge and education. But racism, and keep in mind, there's a difference between racism, discrimination, and prejudice. So once again, there is a difference between racism, discrimination, and prejudice. I think a lot of times people use the words interchangeably when they all have different meanings. They all have different meanings. So with that being said, the series touches on how racism is built into our academic system, is built into our communities, how it's built into our law and judicial system, how it's built into our religion, and like I said earlier, how it impacts Black people on a very specific level at every stage of their life, no matter what gender you are, no matter your age or anything like that. So that's why sometimes I think it's no matter whether you're, no matter whether you're in the LGBTQIA community, or if you're in corporate America, or if you're a feminist or anything like that, you are still, if you are a Black person, you are still impacted by racism. And it's at a great level. It causes a lot of trauma, and no one really speaks about it because, to be honest with you, Black people, we're not allowed to have emotions. And that's something that you see inside of the series. You see inside the series that even if you show any sort of emotion, it's almost like you're dismissed, or you're told that those emotions are not valid for you and your situation, or that you're not supposed to care, or that you're not supposed to have those emotions or feel that way, or that you're lucky to even be in the position that you're in, so hush up with those emotions. If you wanted a quick and dirty review of the movie, that was it. I really enjoyed it. I think everybody should watch it. I think that it's a movie for all races to watch. And movies like this, I always call like a conversational piece. Like, some people be like, oh, it wasn't scary, or oh, it didn't have enough action. Yeah, I also watched One Night in Miami, which is really good as well, but it doesn't have a lot of action in it. So a lot of times people watch these movies, and sometimes you expect horror, sometimes you expect action, sometimes you expect a completed story, like with Antebellum. That was random, like the ending was quite random, but quite enjoyable. So I really think that when it comes down to it, All of these types of movies are conversational pieces or conversation pieces because it invokes you to think and ask, okay, why did that movie happen like that? Why did it start like that? Or why did it end like that? Or why did it have certain things in it, certain elements in it? And then you ask and you reflect on yourself or the people that you might know and say, have I ever gone through something like this? Or have my friends ever gone through something like this? And it begs you to ask, okay, so if you do have Black friends, and if you consider yourself an ally, okay, do you have one friend that has or has not gone through this? Okay, can you collect the opinion of 10 other Black friends? Or do you only have the one Black friend? And then you have to question and ask yourself, okay, why do I only have one Black friend? And is this person truly my friend, or is it just somebody that I know? Because a friend is somebody that, if, say for instance, they lost their home right now because of the pandemic, are you going to let them live with you? Let them and their family live with you? If they need some money, can they depend on you? If, you hurt your leg and you were in the hospital, would you call them to have them visit you and hang out with you at the hospital? So these are the real questions. Just because you know somebody who happens to be Black does not mean that they are your Black friend. Friendship is something a lot deeper and a lot more intimate. So before we get into the next part, and like I said, if that's all you wanted, thank you. The overall, I give this movie a 10 out of 10. Please watch it. I used to like to collect movies. I don't know if you can still do that. I have a ton of DVDs and VHSs, and I love them. I keep them. I watch them. But in today's society, I don't know if this is like something I could download or what. So if you know, please let me know. Like, comment below or message me or email me. Tell me something so I can know if I can have this series in a more permanent way, as well as series like Underground. That's really good. Very true to story, as well as the new Roots. I never saw the old Roots. I have no idea. But the new Roots was really good too. So watch that too if you're into just learning about Black history. And Underground actually has like a lot of action in it. So it's really good. I don't know why, but each time I put the picture up, it gets really warm. My color on the screen. So I'm not doing any falsies. So if you need to learn how to put on false eyelashes, please find another YouTuber. I'm not the one. So things we're not doing are the falsies and probably the lip color, also the highlight. I don't have any highlighter, so I won't be doing that. So like I was saying earlier, I like to start off with the eyes, and I got this as a free gift from Ulta. So I'm using this as a concealer, and we're gonna start on the eyelids as like a base. Depending on how much coverage you need, I like putting this on so that it can give your eyeshadow a nice pop, as well as it starts off your eyeshadow on an even ground. As you can see, like, my eyelids are a little bit darker in some places. So if your eyelids are all one color, that is perfect for your eyeshadow. So let's start off with episode 1. I really like episode 1 because it kind of gives you that creepy vibe, like when it first comes on. Like, you don't really know what's going on, but you know something about to go down. I really enjoy the fact that they spoke a little bit about redlining and how redlining was a thing, and it could possibly still be a thing. I think Wells Fargo or Bank of America, somebody got in trouble a couple years ago because they were still practicing providing loans to minority people. So, your BIPOC people, or people who fall into the BIPOC group, which I used to think that meant, and there's all sorts of acronyms that are coming out these days. And sometimes I wonder, who is making these acronyms? Like, are the people of that group making these acronyms, or some other entity? Because at first I thought BIPOC or BIPOC was part of the LGBTQIA group, but I did a quick Google search. That's why Google is your friend. You just shouldn't speak out of pocket about certain things. And I found out that BIPOC stands for Black Indigenous People of Color. So I thought that was really cool because it encompasses everybody. So it's really cool. So what I'm doing is just spreading this out so that I have, like I said earlier, a nice even tone. And I like to bring it across my nose because sometimes what I have noticed is that sometimes when I've put on eyeshadow and my foundation and things like that, it's still like a little bit of discoloration in the middle that doesn't make sense. So I just bring it all the way across. That's what I like to do. And I bring it somewhat in the middle as well. Not all the way. So I really love the fact that that episode speaks a lot about just the dream, like whoever even put the soundtrack together for this movie was thinking, because the music goes right along with some of the ideas and the concepts that I'm sure the Emerys had in mind. Like, for example, they're moving to Compton, which everyone knows Compton for what it historically is for, like the hood. Basically, you have movies like Boys in the Hood and Friday and other movies that allude to the area and what it looks like, but no one thinks about what it looks like, what it possibly looked like prior to, like in the 50s and 60s and 70s. And then the fact that it's Compton has a name for itself, but it's currently becoming super gentrified, and that's an issue that's going on in a lot of Black communities. A lot of people like to assume that it's the hood and it's been the hood for forever, and it's like, no, like there's a lot of successful Black people that have moved to these areas, and white people live there. And then of course you have white flight, which I'll once again include a definition or something of what white flight is if you're unaware of it. But you have white flight happens, and then not only is white flight happening, and what people don't really realize with white flight is that two things are happening there. Businesses are moving away because they're racist. Let's just call it what it is. But then also the people who may live there, so it's not only just Black people, but there could be like Hispanic people or Indian people, all sorts of people, any BIPOC person, when it comes down to it. But specifically we're talking about Black history here, and the situations that Black people are facing these days. But basically when white flight happens and we think of communities that are known as the hood, we have to also talk about the fact that successful Black people move to these areas, or hardworking or working class people move to these areas. And unfortunately, with the time, different things happen, like the factory industry slowly died. So a lot of those people moved to these areas so that they can work in factories and have work. And if that work in that industry disappears, then of course there's no work, and then that leads into a decimated area. So with that in mind, I really love the fact that the movie. So what I'm doing is I'm using my favorite color right here. I don't know what color that is, but that's my favorite color to use as a base. So I'm using that as a base, and it's going to go over the whole eye. So they spoke a little bit about that, which I really like, as well as they spoke about white entitlement. There are many Black people, and as well as other people of color, who can talk about white entitlement and how they've been in situations where a white person felt like they had entitlement over their physical person, as well as over their opportunities and what that person deserves. So they have the say-so of what that person deserves. And in this specific situation, I really love the way that the director captured the older lady, and even Mrs. Wendell, that entitlement that they felt like they had over how the community should be ran. So I'm right-handed. I'm super right-handed. So as you see, it was like smooth for me to put on there. To put it on my left eye is sometimes a hassle, but it is what it is. So what I've learned within the last couple of days, just from trying this method myself, is to treat my left eye like I do my right eye. Sometimes what I used to do is I would get the eyeshadow and I'll put it on like this. I'll use my right hand to put it on my right eye, and then I'll use my left hand to put it on my left eye. That doesn't work for me because I'm right-handed. So it would be best for me to just hold my left eye and then place the makeup on with my right hand. And what I realized is that allows for me to have that more fanned out look, because sometimes what was happening is I would get fanned out makeup on my right eye, which is what I'm trying to do and trying to achieve, but then I'll get like a circle shape on my left eye and I'm like, what's happening here? So just to make sure that both of my eyes are symmetric, we'll go ahead and just pretend like it's my right eye. So I really like that, and especially when the lady in the beginning of the movie, and you see her throughout the rest of the movie, asks Luck, can she have him? Like, can she have her child? Like, what in the world do you mean? This is a whole child, not like an animal or something. But of course that alludes to, and I'm sure you all have seen the memes, it's like, when exactly does a black boy turn into a threat? Because black children are a hot commodity to have. Believe it or not, some people go to third world countries or into environments where the community is decimated to adopt black children. They have them like pets. Like, it's sick. I also have a sponge out. I don't think I spoke about that. I like my sponge. It helps me with blending. And you wet it first before you use it, or you can use it dry, but I don't use it dry, so I don't know what that looks like. But so I really love the fact that they spoke about that. And then, like I said, the music was off the hook. So the music in the background as they were transitioning to Compton was talking about the promised land, and like a lot of black people, and you could look at historical documents, have, you know, considered that all we have to do is move north in order to obtain freedom, or all we have to do is be smart to attain freedom, or all we have to do is earn money to obtain freedom. And there are several instances from the past and in the present. Now, keep in mind, the 70s, the 60s and 70s was not that long ago. Some of us have parents, I'm not parents, but some of us do have parents, but others of us have grandparents that were born in those times or lived through those times. So let's stop painting this picture like it was way back in the day. I'll have to find the article and post it in the description, but I've even seen an article where they spoke about how pictures of MLK, so now I'm using this lighter color right here, pictures of MLK was taken in color, but in history books they're placed in, or is placed in, you know, the color is changed to black and white to make it seem like the picture is older, but it's like, actually this is a recent picture. There's color versions of these. Like, let's not pretend like this happened so long ago, because it really didn't. Like, we're not that far removed from Jim Crow times. So what I'm doing now is I'm getting this lighter color, just to kind of give it a little bit more of a shimmer, to give the eye a little bit more of a shimmer and make it look a little bit brighter. So I really love that about the movie. And then even right as soon as the Emerys pull up, they're all happy. Everyone's happy. Like, no one's talking about anything negative. Everyone's talking about like their favorite movies and how essentially they're going to be living like the people on TV, which I'm very sure we all can relate to, especially if you grew up on TV and were expecting like a life like Scrubs or Friends or Girlfriends or anything like that. So, or Sex in the City. So with that in mind, they dive a little bit deeper into the fact that everyone's super excited about this move. They have all the stuff that are, all the things that are considered essentials to them in the back. And then from there, they finally get to Compton, to the area where they're about to live. What I noticed about it is that the Emerys were super excited, and especially their two daughters were super, super, super excited. But as they were pulling up to the neighborhood, they were waving at their neighbors, smiling at their neighbors, and their neighbors were frowning up at them or throwing their belongings down into their cars or on the grass and rushing into the house. So immediately, as soon as they pulled up, the parents notice the racism and the hatred in their neighbors, basically, but the little girls didn't. And what I really captured from that is that parents are very aware of racism, and that racism is for the family unit. Like in this situation, in this movie, it shows that white people are racist towards a family, not towards Dan or Steve, just those black people over there. But the little girls, they have no idea. And it just shows me like how parents protect their children against racism, and everything could be going copacetic, like to the kids. Wow, this is a great time, we're in a new place. Wow, look at this house, it's beautiful. Oh my gosh, look at this yard. And they're having a good time, but in actuality there are terrible things happening, but their parents are shielding them from it. So I really love that depiction. And also the idea that just because they're in the North, they'll have a better life. That's also kind of depicted and spoken about.